Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Welcome, and how y'all doing? It's Monday night, actually, and this is a very, very late review. But as promised, this is the Club of the Man 1993. And again, I am recording this in the middle of Monday Night Raw because I got to start getting caught up. SummerSlam is past us. The SummerSlam review will probably be coming to you Wednesday. But I'm at least trying to get caught up because I did promise a Dynamite review and a Collision review from last week. But with me going away on a weekend trip to SummerSlam, which was fun, I will do a review on SummerSlam, of course. And I was just exhausted. I had a few, last minute, unexpected things get thrown at me late last week. So unfortunately, because of my exhaustion, I was not able to get this Dynamite review done last week. But I will still review Dynamite from last week, and I'll still review Collision from this past week, which that probably won't come until later this week also. But I do plan on doing a Raw and SmackDown review because I feel like I still should keep going with those for now. Even though, again, I've definitely lost interest in Raw and SmackDown. But again, they're the things that do seem to get a little more attention than these AEW reviews. So, again, in order to get to 2,000 subscribers, I gotta keep doing what's getting more of the views. So, I want to talk about the stuff I like, but also do the stuff that's still going to, get the attention to get me to 2,000 subscribers. Cool. Okay. But I did need a little more time for this review, I feel like. This is my AEW Dynamite 200 review, actually, as this is the 200th episode of Dynamite, and it was celebrated on this episode. And it took place last Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023, at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. The former home of the WWE's Thunderdome, right at the end of the pandemic era. And I love this show. I thought this was a fantastic anniversary show. We finally got the main event for All In announced. Yes, we are starting to get those pieces together, and we even got another big match that a challenge is laid out to on at Collision, which we'll talk about that again in a separate video. And even we had a nice return, a nice AEW debut from an ECW original. And I wish they were saving the match for All In, but we're getting it this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. But you never know. They could do some type of angle that pushes it back until All In. We'll have to wait and see, though. And also, we got a new champion also. Who is that? We'll discuss that in a little bit. But I definitely want to give myself a little more time for this review because I feel like this one will take up a little more time. But overall, again, I really enjoyed this anniversary episode. It was really well done. Some throwbacks as well, showing the different things in history. And of course, also, a certain 4 people re-signed to AEW last week. It was official. They announced it. They told us that we could either be seen on Dynamite. We'll be spending some time in Ring of Honor, on Rampage, and yes, even Collision. Which is still making me feel like this legal stuff that's going on may not be as bad as we thought. But of course, we will get into it. We'll talk about it, as I, again, have a lot to say about this episode. But let's roll in and, of course, shave off this beard at some point tonight because I hate it, even though my wife loves it. But we're going to talk about Dynamite, start to get caught up, and we'll go from there because there's a lot of stuff to catch up on. And, of course, I keep feeling like I should maybe take another week off from Raw and SmackDown. But, again, I did it last week. I got to keep the momentum going on the channel. So I will not take a break this week. But we still have a lot to get caught up on. Anyways, let's roll in. So the show opened up with a tag match with Chris Jericho, who is still trying to be recruited for the Don Callis family. He teamed up with Konosuke Takeshita, and he took on his JAS brethrens, Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. It was a great match, a great opener, but of course, the big key moment was towards the end of the match. A Judas effect from Jericho was blocked, and a schoolboy roll-up was only for 2, and then Daniel Garcia put him in the Dragon Slayer. Don Callis, though, when the referee wasn't looking, blasted Garcia with Floyd, Jericho's bat, in the face, and Chris saw the interference. He was stunned, but yet he still went for the cover. And, of course, Jericho was being interviewed afterwards, but before he could even say anything, Matt Menard rolled in and told him there's going to be a JAS meeting next week, and you have to be there. So a moment of truth. Again, we saw the look of shock on the face of Chris Jericho. Shows that he still cares for his JAS brothers. But he still went for the cover. Who is Jericho really siding with here? We'll have to find out next week. Tony Khan also had a little promo where he was kind of awkwardly staring off into the camera. It kind of like he was reading a script. It was awkward. But he basically just mentions how this is a milestone and they're on their way to All In. And there was a video package of many things on Dynamite, including stuff with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was in several of the shots. But anyways, we then have one of my favorite segments of the night. Well, one of many favorite moments of the night for me. We have Tony Schiavone getting ready to interview the new FTW champion, Jack Perry. Jack comes out and he calls out Jerry Lynn, who said he was going to show up this week. So he comes out and he's in street clothes with a mic in hand. He mentions how he has plates and screws in his neck, and there's no way he can ever get clear to get back in the ring. But he just so happened to call a very good friend of his. This man wrestled in ECW. And he still wrestles today. And you heard the rumors and you thought maybe they'd wait. They didn't wait yet. Because out came, to his old ECW theme, no one other than RVD himself, Rob Van Dam. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm a late bloomer wrestling fan. The only time I got to see RVD wrestle live, like in actual time, was when he briefly came back in 2014 for a few months. And that was the only time. The only time I got to see him wrestle. And I haven't seen him wrestle since. Well, that is a lie. I did watch one Impact. I watched, since I met my good friend Joe, which Penta L. Miller, as I call him. He's been on the channel a few times in like live reactions. I have twice watched 2 Impact pay-per-views with him. I think it was the first one I watched he wrestled in. I can't remember which one that was called. It was the show where Tessa Blanchard dethroned Sami Callihan for the world title. That's the show I believe it was. Because the other one I watched was Rebellion. That's when Kenny Omega dethroned Rich Swann. I'm pretty sure it's the one, whatever it was called before, and the one with Tessa. But he wrestled on that show. That's the only other time I've ever seen RVD wrestle. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome. He came out, and of course, Jack Perry backslaws and leaves the ring. And then RVD and Jerry Lynn have a moment in the ring together, and Perry comes back in with a chair. He swings it, but RVD ducks and almost takes off Jack's head with a rolling soul butt, and Jack runs away and hides behind a literal child in the crowd. And they announce that they're doing the match this coming week on Dynamite. I'm like, dang it, again, because other than him, what other ECW original can come in to challenge Jack Perry for that FTW title? I do kind of hope they somehow push this off to All In. That's when you should do that match. RVD and Jack Perry at All In, that'd be a great addition for that card. So again, I do hope they kind of like hold off on that, but that was awesome. I loved seeing RVD back. Like I said, I didn't get to watch him wrestle too much live, but again, this is me getting a chance to see him wrestle again. And I'm pretty darn excited about it. It'll be awesome. Hikaru Shida has a promo talking about how she's going to win the title, and a rebuttal from Toni Storm basically sends her going, nah, not happening, girl. What was also really good, even though it was still random, but it was still really good, this triple threat anything goes match with Jon Moxley, Penta, El Zero, Miedo, and Trent Beretta. Basically, instead of a triple threat tag match, we got like one person from each team from last week wrestling in a triple threat. And this was balls to the walls, insane. They also, I feel like the momentum for this kind of also came because they showed that parking lot brawl that happened a couple years ago with Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. I feel like this is kind of a spotlight for Trent Beretta. But again, the match was awesome. Trent had a trash can Busaiku knee. We had a suplex on the top rope and through a table as well in there. Avalanche flip pile driver through tables. We also had some thumbtack bumps. I think Moxley pile drived Penta in the thumbtacks. And then an ace crusher into the tags for Trent. And then Trent, though, hits a dude buster into the tax in return, but Penta broke it up. So, a lot of craziness in this match. And Trent Beretta got the win. He, of course, did the Busaiku knee, though, on Penta El Zero Miedo. But afterwards, though, the BCC, who have not really been winning matches lately, come out with Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. But they were met partway by Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. They brawled into the crowd, but then after some fighting, Chuck Taylor gets on the mic and says, looks like this didn't accomplish a thing. So they challenged him to a parking lot brawl this Friday on Rampage. Well, last Friday on Rampage. I didn't get to see it, but throwing it back again to their famous parking lot brawl with Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. Hopefully it was a good match, but yeah, that was awesome. RVD was being interviewed backstage saying that he came here because he heard Jack Perry running his mouth and he's going to challenge him for the FTW title next week. And then when he wins a title, he'll inflate the value to ridiculous levels and then retire it. But it depends on how much fun he has wrestling Jungle Jerk next week, as he calls him. All right, then we got this promo, which completely has, to me, changed the game. And again, as I keep saying, what is so great about MJF, despite the fact he is a heel champion, he somehow always seems to have a different twist on his stories that do make it not as, obvious of what's going to happen. We have this promo where MJF comes out getting emotional. And he says he wants to have a heart-to-heart. As some of them know, he has ADD, which with that comes a litany of other disorders. And basically, part of them, his disorders, is he has trouble managing feelings of rejection. And they get blown out of proportion. He talks about him being bullied and a story of having quarters and other things thrown at him. And how he learned he has to stab everyone in the back to protect himself. But he's beginning to realize that's no way to live. Because in doing that, he became one of them. He became a scumbag himself. And to be honest, being a scumbag is easy. Which everybody's chanting, "You're our scumbag! You're our scumbag!" And getting boos is easy. And what's hard, though, is being vulnerable. He knew if he opened himself up and got booed, it would kill him. It would take him right back to being the kid who had quarters thrown at him. But he ain't scared anymore. We taught him that we do care about Max. We got sympathy for the devil. And you know what? He's not going to change overnight. He's still a scumbag, but he's ready to be our scumbag, which of course the crowd popped for him. And it's all thanks to a person that taught him he can trust and be vulnerable, and even, yes, Max Friedman deserves a friend. Which is Adam Cole, baby! Cole comes out, and he puts over MJF as one of the best in the world at such a young age. And he appreciates the man he's becoming. Having the guts to talk about what he's going through. And Cole wants to make sure he knows he's not alone. He went through the same thing. He was scared and didn't know what a man really was. But Max is becoming the man he's meant to be. These people love and adore Max. And they want to cheer him. Not because he's so good. Because they know deep down his heart and soul, there's a good guy in there. So he wants to make sure MJF knows he's incredibly proud of him, and so are the fans. Which MJF is like a little kid, just like, that's right, you guys finally like me. Like having all those like smart looks on his face, thinking like he's playing this off so good. But of course, the question comes: is this him really embracing the light, or is there really a dark side? This is another one of his tricks. But then, of course, things get a little more interesting. Max says, as much as he enjoys the verbal fellatio, that's not why he came out here. And that's not why he wanted Cole out here. He called him out here because he promised him a title match after their tag match. Win, lose, or draw. However, though, he decided Cole doesn't deserve a match. And everybody's like, what? And then you even see Cole go like, Max, what the hell, man? Like, once again, just like the previous Saturday on Collision, he saw it coming. He's just like, I knew it was happening. Do what you gotta do. So now, of course, he's seeing again. And he's like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. But there's a little twist behind this. MJF says, you don't just deserve a match. You deserve the match. At the biggest show in history, in front of the biggest crowd, Wembley Stadium, at All In. There's no one he'd rather make history with than Adam Cole. He gives him the contract to sign, and they both sign it. Max tells him he loves him, and they hug it out. MJF says he has to be honest, he's going to win. They have some good-natured banter about it, and post in the turnbuckles. And of course, Roderick Strong is backstage throwing a hissy fit until the Kingdoms, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, roll up and tell him that's just like Cole, constantly forgetting about his real friends. So is that the start of a new stable with the Kingdom and Roderick Strong? But of course, the big question is where does this leave MJF and Adam Cole? Like, this friendship is not going to last much longer. But MJF convincingly has me wonder, is he truly embracing this dark side? I mean, this light side. Could Adam Cole maybe be the one to turn on MJF? Because people are starting to give Britt Baker some heat again. And it's very obvious she's meant to be the bitchy heel. Could they maybe throw us off and have Adam Cole turn heel? It's very possible. If MJF did it, though, there could be a thing where, like, he tricked Adam Cole and put something in the contract that could be a disadvantage for him or something, but I don't know. Because you really thought MJF was gonna turn on Cole after they lost the tag titles. But that wasn't the case. Again, like, although some stuff with MJF is going to be repetitive, someone who's that good is going to constantly find ways to get the crowd to not believe otherwise, to believe that there's something different to this story. And again, they accomplished that. Right now, I have no clue when that turn is going to happen. It's going to happen soon, though. But now I can wonder, will it be MJF? Or will it be Adam Cole? We'll have to find out. But very well segment. Again, excellent segment. Loved the work. Just loved it. The Elite had like a somewhat of like a showcase match against Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh. And the Elite won the match with a one-winged angel from Kenny Omega on Jay Lethal. Afterwards, they get on the mic and they do an announcement. And of course, there's Hangman there as well. And the four of them, Omega, Matt, Nick, and Hangman, all announced that they have re-signed with AEW. Excuse me. They were here for the first 200. They'll be here for the next 200. Whether it's Dynamite, Ring of Honor, Rampage, heck, even Collision. CMFTR versus the Elite. Come on, give it to me. Be men, work it out, do the match. Do the match. But for now, goodbye and good night. So, they're not going to WWE. Now, of course, I do wonder if there's a chance they would have if Triple H still had full control. But now, Vinnie Mac, up to his usual antics, even when getting subpoenaed and while being home with a spine injury, he's still going to find some way to get his grubby little hands on everything his way. He's still going to do it. It's true. And you know it. We also get a Mogul Embassy promo with AR Fox, who talks about Darby Allin. He's like, if Darby and I were so close, why didn't he call me and thank me when I got signed? He didn't hear a word from Darby for 5 years, so now he's going to take everything he gave him away. Swerve says he won't lie and say you're family, but when you're a Mogul affiliate, he'll take care of you and put you in the movies. Then we get footage of Swerve and Fox visiting Nick Wayne while he was training, and they attack him and his training partners. And if they smashed a framed photo of Buddy Wayne over his Nick Wayne's father over his head and showing it to the camera when we see it's him and Nick together. And he was bleeding, and then Swerve grabbed Nick's phone to call Darby, and of course they had to make Nick unlock it, and then Swerve tells him to shut up and listen and asks, why couldn't you bother to call AR Fox? They're the ghosts of his past, and they're here to haunt him. Which is all good and dandy, but once again, why are we veering away still from Swerve and Keith Lee? Why can't we just do that match? I mean, again, I love this stuff, but again, the elephant in the room is, why have we not done Swerve and Keith? Why do they keep pushing it off? Like, is there still some health concerns with Keith Lee from his near-death experience he had before he left WWE? Because, again, I like this stuff with Swerve and Darby. And, of course, also with AR Fox as well, which is kind of like a fresh face. But once again, why do we keep ignoring something else that's so great with Swerve and Keith? I don't get it. We had a pretty good Ring of Honor tag title match with Aussie Open's Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis taking on Komander and El Hijo del Vikingo. Great match. Aussie, though, wins with retaining the titles. And we also get a video package of CM Punk and Ricky Starks for the real World Championship, which still was not addressed on this episode of Dynamite. You would still think MJF would address that after what Punk did, bringing back his AEW World title that he never lost and saying he's the real champion. And then we have the main event. Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida. I don't think anybody else in their right minds ever thought. Everybody was pretty set that Toni was going to be going into All In as champion. Well, it ain't happening. Because for most of this match, again, everybody thought Toni was going to win. But then, whenever, I think it was Saraya came out and tried to throw in Hikaru Shida's signature kendo stick and tried to, have Shida get disqualified, Toni Storm took advantage and sprayed Shida with the green paint and hit a Storm Zero. And then, just like that, the whole game changed. Because not only did Shida, who had a new look and a new theme song, by the way, not only did she kick out of the Storm Zero, but Toni was so shocked that just like that, Shida rolled her up and won the AEW Women's World Championship. Did anybody see that coming? I sure did not. But, yeah, Shida's your new champion. She's going to be going into All Out as the All In as the AEW Women's World Champion. Now, I don't know if they did this because apparently Toni Storm landed a movie role that originally was supposed to go to Liv Morgan, but Toni got instead. But I also wonder, because there's also rumors that Jamie Hayter's injury is more severe, and she actually may not be back till sometime in 2024, what I'm hearing now. So I wonder, did they only do this just so Saraya can be the one to win the title at All In? Which is a little strange because Saraya is a heel now. I mean, this is her hometown, or her home country. So it would be nice to see, after nearly a year later, her win the title. I'm just concerned, though, again, because she's still not wrestling too much. And I feel like at this point, she should be wrestling a little bit more. Just my opinion. So I'm hoping they're still not playing it too cautious with Saraya. You know what I mean? But if that's the case, and she has that moment where she wins the AEW Women's World title, by all means do it. As I keep saying, Saraya is a draw. People love her, whether she's a face or a heel. She knows what it is. She knows how to get people to care. She knows how to get people to hate her. Again, I still have not been 100% impressed with the Outcasts. Because again, I feel like that they just aren't getting into another gear. But we all know she's talented. And this would be another storybook moment in her returning back to the ring. And that's her winning the title in her home country. So I think that's what they'll probably do with her and Shida. But it was nice to see Shida get a moment in front of fans. Remember, she had a year-long title reign that unfortunately, most of it, just about all of it was in front of no fans. And that sucks. She was a good champion. Yes, she had a little too many matches with longtime rival Nyla Rose, but she was a great champion. She was some pretty darn good matches. Have we seen her in Thunder Rosa yet? I don't think so. May have, I can't remember. But, yep. Hikaru Shida is your new AEW Women's World Champion. That was a nice way to end an excellent 200th episode of Dynamite. I gotta give it an A. Yes, I gave a couple little nitpicks, but look at this show. I'm gonna remember this show. The MJF and Adam Cole promo. Hikaru Shida winning the championship. We got Rob Van Dam making his first appearance in AEW. We had, of course, the Elite re-signing. We had a lot that happened in this episode of Dynamite. To me, it deserves an A. It's an A. Not quite an A+, but it gets an A. So, that's my thoughts on this past episode of AEW Dynamite and the 200th episode of Dynamite. Again, I will continue to catch up probably Wednesday, because Tuesdays are my night out. So, yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of Dynamite? Last week's episode of Dynamite, the 200th anniversary of AEW Dynamite. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you gotta be the man. And that's not an opinion. That's just a fact of life. Yeah! I said it all backwards. Sorry, let's try it again. For I am the man himself. And that's not just an opinion. That is a fact of life. Yeah!